I'm reviewing here! Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of I'm Reviewing Here, a podcast where I, Matthew Bussey, watches and reviews all of Sight and Sound's top greatest movies of all time. There are 264 of them, and I'm only on number 3, from bottom to top. And it's very exciting. This has been great. I mentioned a little bit in the last episode how I already feel like a true podcaster, and I really, really do. Fun fact, that music you just heard was made by me. Moi. I swear to God. It's like ASMR. Hello in there. I swear to God. No, I'm lying. That music was not done by me. No, it is legal to use, though. It is. It's, what did they say? First Amendment? Woohoo! Yes, it is. I do wish I could play music, though. The piano and the guitar, they seem to be like the sexiest ones, like the sexiest instruments, I think. But when I was younger, I really wanted to play the viola. Not the violin, but the viola. Because the viola, I like that name. And this is like pre-She's the Man, like viola, like I don't know, orchestra, what is it, orchestral instruments, I really like them, except for the cello, that just looks like a pain in the ass to play with. What's it called? Like, what do violinists and cellists do? Are they swiping left and right? Is that what they call it? Yeah, swipe left on that note, I don't know. The viola, though, I never got to play it. My sister's friend brought her broken one to me one time, and didn't work out at all, and I'm still so upset about it. No, it didn't work out. It was very much dead and dying, and when I played it, it was like, yeah, I think a window cracked when I played it, but anyway, it's very late, you guys. It's 10 o'clock at night when I'm recording this, and I have to work tomorrow, but you know what? I have to talk about this next movie, because I friggin' loved it. Sullivan's Travels came out in 1941. It's an American movie. It was released by Paramount Pictures. Amazing movie. Here it is. Take a little listen to this trailer. This very old-fashioned sounding trailer.
I'm going to find out how it feels to be in trouble. Without friends, without credit, without checkbook, without name. Alone.
And I'll go with you.
How could I be alone if you're with me?
Sullivan's Travels, the side-splitting story of a $4,000 a week big shot who turns hobo for experience and gets more than he bargained for.
You better drop me at the next corner and take this bus back where you stole it from.
Don't talk nonsense. I left a note saying I was taking the car. Or did I?
Be nice if you could remember. What do you suppose that is?
Well, whatever it is, there's absolutely nothing they can do. Remember that.
What did you say?
I said there's absolutely nothing they can do.
It's a long trailer. That's all you need to hear. Yeah, it is a bit of a long trailer. Old movies, I love them because, there really is nothing else like them. They do not, this sounds cliched, they do not make movies like they used to, like the 1940s, 1930s movies, because they don't. Everything nowadays is so method-y and method. That's kind of like the best way I can describe it. I mean, I think with older movies, it can get a little bit annoying because everything in older movies is so theatrical. Like the blocking in every movie that I see from, I'd say probably like I don't even know, like pre-70s even, the blocking and the theatricality of it all, it gets so histrionic sometimes, but it's so fun though. And when I say theatrical, I mean, it's like a play. Like every line that is spoken is seriously, it's like mechanical. Like the way characters talk to each other, it's like, well, what do you think? I don't know, sir. Oh, well, you tell me. Oh, well, I don't know. I was just down yonder. And I said, oh, well, how could you do? You know what I mean? It's so quick and back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And they don't make movies like that anymore. And I really wish that people did. There was a movie, George Clooney directed and starred in a movie called Leatherheads. I remember it. Obviously, it did not do very well because no one's heard of it. But I remember he filmed, he made that movie, and it was kind of like an homage to these types of movies. Movies like Sullivan's Travels, you know? But it flopped, and it wasn't very good. I watched it on a plane. I remember that. And even on the plane ride, I was like, oh God, this is not good. Sorry, George. He's made better movies. Yeah, I'd say so. No, I really mean it. I think he has made better movies. Okay, anyway, George Clooney's not in Sullivan's Travels. Sullivan's Travels, though, is actually a very famous, critically acclaimed movie. And I think what's special about it is that, I mean, it is considered a classic, but when people mention classic American movies, Sullivan's Travels doesn't really come up. You know, it's always, oh, The Wizard of Oz, Casablanca, Jaws, you know, The King and I don't know. Sullivan's Travels, though, doesn't really come up. It's kind of an underrated gem, in my opinion, but it is very popular. It's considered by many critics to be one of the best movies ever made. I don't know if you remember AFI, the American Film Institute, once a year, I believe it was on CBS, they used to do, you know, AFI's 100 Years, 100 movies, most inspirational movies, most thrilling movies, most romantic movies, blah, 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 blah. They never did a horror one, though, and I was so mad about that. And I'm so mad that these specials are not available to, like, rent, except for the first two specials, the Movies and Stars from 1998 and 1999, I think. I think they're on DVD. But the other ones aren't on there. But anyway, I mentioned this because Sullivan's Travels is actually on a lot of those lists. It was on the Greatest Comedies list that was released in 2000. It was on Most Inspirational lists, singular. That was in 2007, I think. Or was it 6? Or was it 5? I didn't make this note. I'm sorry. But also, you know, AFI, when they named their top 100 greatest movies again in 2007, because they did a 10-year anniversary, like in 1997, they released the top 100 greatest movies, and then they did it again 10 years later to see if any new movies got added, and this one got added. So it stuck around. It's with people, you know, all these years later, and I absolutely loved it. I loved it from beginning to end. I'm so glad I saw it, and I recommend it very, very much. So, you know, it's a slapstick comedy. It definitely is a slapstick comedy. Slapstick, if you don't know what that means, it's like Three Stooges. You know, that's like slapstick humor. It's like boing, it's like, you know, pratfalls and you know, people falling and people spilling pie on, or people spilling pie on themselves, or people getting pies in the face. You know, it's always pie. Why is it always pie? Sullivan's Travels is very much that. You know, it was written and directed by this man named Preston Sturges, and he was very famous for doing these over the top, you know, silly comedies. But Sullivan's Travels, you know, it's very funny and it has a lot of slapstick moments. But it was it was much more different than I thought it was going to be. It was a very, very endearing movie. It has a lot of heart, you know. There's a quote in the beginning of the movie when the credits are rolling up. At the end of the credits, there's an actual quote from Preston Sturges right before the movie starts. And he says, "To the memory of those who made us laugh, the motley mountebanks," I don't know what that word is, "the clowns, the buffoons, in all times and in all nations, whose efforts have lightened our burden a little, this picture is affectionately dedicated." Aw. You see, it's a positive movie. I think that this is a movie about how we all just need a little laughter in our lives because life is hard. Yeah, simple as that. It's that positive a message, and I think that's what I really enjoyed about it. What I also really enjoyed is that I did not know that this movie was so satirical in its depiction of Hollywood and Hollywood producers and all that. If you've seen Singin' in the Rain came out in 1952, and that's, you know, it's famous for being musical, but it's also so famous because I think it was really, well, I'm mistaken now, but I think it's considered to be one of the first movies ever that really poked fun at Hollywood. But Sullivan's Travels kind of proves that theory wrong, because it came out 11 years before Singing in the Rain, and it's very much the same. So, it opens up, there's a really clever sequence. What the hell was that? Oh, I just got a text, I'm sorry. It opens up, and there's this big riveting train action sequence happening, and you're like, what the heck is this movie? And then it turns out, it's a sequence from a movie that the main character of this movie, a director, is making. So it's a movie within a movie. Now, right away, you got to remember, this is 1941. That doesn't happen. I mean, it doesn't happen at all. So that's clever right off the bat, I think. And it gets right into the character. So the lead character of this movie, he's a director. His name is John L. Sullivan. He's played very, very well by this actor named Joel McCrea. McCrea? I think it's McCrea. That's how you say it. I didn't really know this actor. Joel McCrea was really famous for playing a cowboy in all the Western movies. So this was kind of a little different from his usual roles. But yeah, he plays Sullivan. Sullivan is a film director. He's a young film director, and he's very he's tired of making silly comedies. He wants to make a movie that is about I don't know how else to say it, tramps. Yeah. Or as Wikipedia calls it, the downtrodden. Yeah, wow, all these words, downtrodden. I mean, it's amazing how language develops. I mean, now look at us. We have, twerking? That's like the new word of the century. Ugh, Jesus. Yeah, but, tramps now, tramps in this case are, it's like poorer people who don't really have full-time jobs, people who sort of are a little bit like, I don't know if it's the right word to use, but like gypsies in a way, like they don't really stay in one place. They like to they like to travel a lot and get whatever job they can. And that's what he wants. He wants to make a movie about them, but he really wants to learn more about it too. So he devises this plan to pretend to be a tramp, basically, and go and live, go and experience what it's like to be poor, essentially, really. And that way he'll have the inspiration to make a movie about this. And, he also mentions, this is a little nod years and years later, but he wants this movie to be based on a book called O Brother, Where Art Thou? O Brother, Where Art Thou was actually later made into a movie by the Coen brothers in 2000, also with George Clooney. George Clooney, wow, he's getting mentioned a lot in this episode. And I believe the Coen brothers, one of them at least, said that Sullivan's Travels was like a big inspiration for them when they made that movie. But it's totally different. O Brother, Where Art Thou is a weird movie that's very loosely based on Homer's The Odyssey. Really good movie, though. I recommend it. But, Sullivan, I think he's a good guy. He wants his film to accurately depict, quote-unquote, the sorrows of humanity. And there's even a line that I kind of had to go, what? Because he tells these producers, he promises that there will be sex in it. Sex! Yeah. Crazy. That's what I liked already about this movie. Not the sex line, no, not that. But because, already this, right off the bat, 5 minutes in, this is a movie that is tackling Hollywood, in a very comical way. And it's also like, I have to say, in all of these old movies, every man in these old movies, they all look the exact same. They all talk the exact same. They all dress the exact same. They're always white guys wearing these fancy suits, and their shirts are tucked in and their pants are so far high up their bodies. It's like an inch below their nipples. Like literally, that's how high these pants are. They all look the exact same, And and in this movie they look no different. His studio head, Sullivan's studio head, is totally against this idea. His team is against the idea. They think it's stupid. They're like, just go make another comedy. But Sullivan is very curious, and he basically just says, no, I don't want to do it. But they won't let him off the hook about this. So, cut to the next scene. Sullivan is dressed up as a hobo, basically, and legit looks like a Halloween costume. He looks like the Scarecrow, but he's like walking with a cane. And, you know, his studio head and the people that work with him, they're following him in this bus as he's walking up the street. And then he basically wants to get away from them, so he catches a ride with this 13-year-old boy who looks like Macaulay Culkin, literally. And then the screwball comedy sets in. The boy drives him off, and they lead the bus into this big chase, and everyone's falling in the bus, and in the kitchen of the bus, all the food's coming out, and, you know, it's crazy, and he eventually gets away, and you know, he ends up at this little diner where he meets a very pretty but, you know, very mysterious woman, and she is known simply as the girl. The girl. Did I say that right? I used to have a problem with my R's when I was a student in elementary school, and I had to go to speech therapy. You want to know what my homework was? Stick your tongue out, put a spoon in your mouth, and say the alphabet. I am not kidding. That used to be my homework when I had the speech impediment. Anyway, I hope I said it right. Girl. Squirrel was a worse word to say. I could never say that. But anyway, Sullivan meets the girl, and she is this very sultry, sassy, young, aspiring actress, but she's not doing very well. She keeps failing. She's played by this actress named Veronica Lake, who was, not surprisingly, very famous for her femme fatale roles back in the day. Joel McCrea and Veronica Lake actually didn't get along when they made this movie. I don't know why. But, you know, it happens. It's very sad because they have wonderful chemistry in this movie. And this isn't really like a love story, which is another reason why I like the movie. It could have easily gone down that route, but it doesn't. But they didn't get along. But you know what? Sometimes that just happens in movies. I couldn't find out exactly why they didn't get along. I don't know. Maybe they didn't trust each other. You know? Why didn't Charlize Theron and... no, sorry, I said it wrong. Why didn't Charlize Theron and Max Fury... No, Jesus, what am I talking about? Tom Hardy and Tom Hardy and Charlize Theron in Mad Max Fury Road. They didn't get along, and, you know, didn't ruin the movie. They had good chemistry. I think they released why they didn't get along, but, you know, it could have just been tabloid fodder. Is that what they call it? Tabloid fodder? Who knows? But anyway, he meets the girl, and he lies to the girl. He tells her he's a tramp, and I cannot say that word without like shaking my head a little bit, because for the longest time I thought tramp was a bad word. I thought tramp was a word for like a slut, basically, you know. But now I'm realizing how stupid that was, because like Charlie Chaplin, he was the tramp, right? Or was he the champ or the tramp? I don't know. I also just used to call trampolines tramps when I was like my whole childhood. Like it was a tramp, you know. Mom, I'm going to be outside. I'm jumping on the tramp. That's what I would always say. I had a French exchange student one time, and our power went out in the middle of the afternoon, so we just jumped on the tramp for an hour and didn't talk. It was really awkward. Philippe, voulez-vous aller sauter sur le tramp? Okay, back to the movie now. Okay, so yes, he tells her that he's a tramp, and she believes him, and she's very intrigued by him, to say the least. And this, you know, the girl is very, very feisty, you know. I think one of my favorite lines she says in the movie to him is, "Buy me some ham and eggs before I bite you." Woof. I mean, am I right? Damn. Well, she feels for him, you know, she gets him breakfast, but then, like, very quickly she finds out that he's lying, and he's actually this rich, you know, director, and she gets mad. She pushes him in a pool. He pulls her in the pool. The butlers fall in the pool. It's all funny, and, you know, everybody gets wet. But, you know, she really likes what he is trying to do. And she decides to go along with him on this journey to find out what it means to be, you know, a hobo. Find out what it means to be homeless. And she goes along with him. She dresses up as a guy. They dress up all dirty, and, you know, they wear old clothes, and they go, and there's this nice sequence where they, you know, go where all the other, I don't want to call them hobos because that sounds so mean. Where all the other people, let's just call them people, where all the other non-directors who aren't like Sullivan go. And they go and they discover what it's like. They are all sleeping huddled together with all these other people. It's dirty. There are like bed bugs and they eventually make it back to Los Angeles, and this is where something big happens. He confesses that he's married. And she's like, "Are you kidding me? You lied to me again." And he's kind of like, "Well, it's not real love though. We only got married so that we wouldn't have to pay as many taxes." So it's kind of he's a good guy, Sullivan, but I don't really think he understands morals and ethics that well. So she gets mad again, but at the same time, he's a good guy. And the next scene, that he really does care about what he's doing, and he's handing out $5 bills to people in the streets. And out of nowhere, this homeless guy mugs him, knocks him unconscious, hides him in a railway car, steals his money. The guy gets hit by a train. Yeah. Did not see that one coming since Mean Girls came out. Like, out of nowhere, just gets hit by a train, and it's a funny shot. Excuse me, I just burped, I'm sorry. He gets hit by a train, and then, you see the train go by, and then you just see a shoe fall flat next to the train. And so, they find there's a miscommunication, and people in Hollywood, they think that Sullivan was the guy that was hit by a train, so they think he's dead. Sullivan wakes up and has amnesia, doesn't know where he is. There's a railway driver guy kicks him out of the railway car, and he gets mad, and Sullivan hits him with a rock, and then Sullivan this happens so quickly, that's why I'm laughing. He goes to on trial, and he gets sent to jail, basically, and he is now officially without a job, just like how he envisioned but didn't envision, exactly. This is now all reality, and he's actually poor, and he's no longer this big director. And nobody believes him when he says, "No, I'm this director." They don't believe him at all. So Sullivan, is sentenced to work in a, I don't even know what you would call it. It's kind of just like a work camp, so he has to go out, go out in the swamps and cut down trees and whatnot. And, he does that. It's a lot of excuses for Joel McCrea to take his shirt off too, which, another kind of sultry thing about this movie. But he does that. Near the end of the movie, there's one of the most remarkable scenes in the movie that I'm still thinking about. So he and the other prisoners, I guess that's what you'd call them, they go to this Baptist church, an all-black Baptist church, and the members in the church, they're all black, and they start singing, "Let My People Go." And as they're singing this, Sullivan and all of the men walk into the church, chained up, ankle to ankle, wrist to wrist, walk in row by row, chained up, while black people are singing "Let My People Go." I mean, it's crazy. The irony that they do there in that scene is so ingenious. And it's such a beautiful scene because it just like humanizes these black people so well. These black people, they give these men, a moment of a home, basically, and what they do is they play this Mickey Mouse, I think it was Mickey Mouse. Yeah, or no, it was Playful Pluto. That's what the cartoon was. They play that for these men, and everyone is laughing their butts off. And Sullivan kind of looks around and realizes, look, this situation I'm in is so bad, but look at these beautiful people that are offering this experience for me. And he just starts to laugh with them. And wow, what a sequence. I have to say, too, I did research on this movie, and the NAACP, they loved Preston Sturges for his depiction of African Americans in this movie. Because I got to tell you, you watch a lot of old movies, black people are treated like crap. They are objectified, and it's so sad. It's so hard to watch. But in this movie, like, it is remarkable how honestly he portrays these people. He portrays them as people, which is what they are. It's what they've always been. And it's just such a beautiful sequence. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm gushing about that sequence. That sequence, it sent shivers down my back. It's just one of the most beautiful moments I've seen in a movie in a long time. And I've seen a lot of movies. I just want to read this quote too that Walter White, who was the secretary of the NAACP, he actually wrote this to Preston after seeing the movie. He said, "I want to congratulate and thank you for the church sequence in Sullivan's Travels. This is one of the most moving scenes I have seen in a moving picture for a long time. But I am particularly grateful to you, as are a number of my friends, both white and colored, for the dignified and decent treatment of I'm not going to say the N-word, in this scene. I was in Hollywood recently and am to return there soon for conferences with production heads, writers, directors, and actresses in an effort to induce broader and more decent picturization of the instead of limiting him to menial, I never use that word, or comic roles. Yeah, good. The sequence in Sullivan's Travels is a step in that direction. I want you to know how grateful we are." Oh, Walter White, you said that perfectly. I just love that scene. Best part of the movie, honestly. So how does this movie end? Well, Sullivan comes up with this great idea that he kind of should have thought up of all along, but he's Sullivan. He's not perfect. He decides to go to his boss and say, "I'm the one who killed, Sullivan. It's me. I killed him." Because if he says that, then he'll get sent to another prison where they'll see, oh my God, wait, he's actually the Sullivan guy. Sullivan never died. So it's a little like, what's the word? Believable? I don't totally know, but, it works in a way, and it's very funny. And, he gets out of the work camp and he is reignited with the girl and everyone's all happy that he survived. And, he ends up, the movie ends on a beautiful note too, because it ends with him kind of looking back at everything that he's learned. Now he's learned what it feels like to live in poverty, and he basically says, I don't want to make, any more serious, I don't want to make serious movies. He wants to continue to make comedies. He doesn't want to make a movie about, what it's like to be a tramp anymore. He wants to continue to make comedies because laughing and being happy, that's, the most joyful thing we can all have, and all do, all have and do and see, and it's all that we need on this planet, because life is hard. And that, my friends, is Sullivan's Travels. I loved it. I love feel-good movies, and this one was so feel-good. I loved Veronica Lake in it. I don't really recognize her in other movies. And the poster for this movie is so misleading. The poster for it, it's like her, it's like a what is it? Like a cartoon of her, a drawing, not a cartoon. I'm sorry, it's late. It's a drawing of her, and it makes the movie look like a sexy, like noir movie. And it's like, come and see this movie, baby, and it's like, she acts like that a little bit in the movie, but it's not like that at all. It's a shame when movie posters, are so off-brand and not accurate at all in depicting what the movie's about. But she's great in it. She was also pregnant when they filmed this, which I did not know. 6 to 8 months pregnant. Damn. And she gets pulled into a pool. I really hope that was a body double, because, it had to have been, because she had a baby after this was filmed. But this is an underrated gem, and I really liked it. I love the message that it says, and it did make me laugh out loud. A lot of old movies, sometimes I'll roll my eyes because I'm like, oh, haha. But this one, is pretty good. I will say though, Joel McCrea, he does a great job in this. He is a horrible sneezer though. He's a horrible actor at sneezing, fake sneezing. He sneezes like a dog barking. I'm not even going to do it because I'm going to blow out this mic if I do it. But yeah, when you watch the movie, I mean, it's quite ridiculous. But yeah, he's a bark sneezer. He's a bark sneezer. If you want to see someone sneeze in a very realistic way, go watch Kate Beckinsale on Ellen from an interview in the 2000s, I think. She sneezes so well. I don't know how she does it. But look, Joel McCrea's bad sneezing, that does not ruin this movie at all. This is a happy movie. I really loved it, and I think that you will too. And on that note, friends, I'm going to go get some sleep because I've been talking I think this is my longest episode yet. Wow. Yes, I can't think of anything clever to say. YOLO? If you know, you know. Ikikikikik. Whenever I see people use that acronym, I have no idea what the hell they're saying. I always have to Google, what does iwikikiki mean? If you know, you know. I never even use that phrase. I don't use a lot of phrases. I say that a lot, that I don't use a lot of phrases. Okie dokie, I'm going to let you all go. I hope you enjoyed this episode of I'm Reviewing Here. Don't forget to click and subscribe, rate it, review it, tell everyone about it. It's new, it's fun, I love doing it, and I love talking with you all. I hope you enjoy me and that I don't annoy you too much. And if I do annoy you, good. I'm going to annoy you more in the next episode, so shut up. Nah, just kidding. You know what? I'm going to end this in the same way that Sullivan feels, and that is... I can't remember. Have a good night. Bye-bye.